Hello guys, I welcome you to VMS Projects Limited, where we design and build classic homes. Welcome back to episode 2 on the flat roof design. So today we'll be talking about what a lean-to roof is and also a flat roof. So a lean-to roof is actually a roofing system that is a single sloped roofing, and it slopes from a higher point to a lower level. It's just a single and simple straight up roof. It just slopes one-sided. It has a wall, from that wall it just graduates to the level that it should get to. So now there are many reasons why most of those roof systems are not sustainable because of the skilled workers. Most of them are not knowledgeable enough to know what to do to prevent leakages, because most times these roofing systems, if they're not properly done, you will see a whole lot of wastages and leakages on that roofing system. So it is my duty to share my experience and how the processes that we take to achieve this type of roofing system. So today I will focus more on this episode. We'll focus more on the flat roofing that we've done, which is the slab. So that slab, what do we do to navigate these things and make it sustainable and also make it efficient.
Okay, so on this flat roofing, there are actually some factors that we considered, based on our experience with flat roofs. We have about 5 factors that we consider. The first one is coping. The second one is the floor drain. The third one is the slope of the slab. The fourth one is the felt, over the slab. And the fifth one is the aluminum cladding, over the coping wall.
So the first line of call for us is when we have set the walls, the roof walls. That's what we call the coping. That coping is actually a concrete cover that rests on top of the block.
The concrete wall coping is the roof of a wall. It is a protective cap that sits on a block wall to prevent water from soaking into the walls. If this is not done, there's no way water won't soak up your walls, which will lead to, cracks, molds and stains. So also we made sure all the roof walls had the concrete coping. That was actually, what helped us to solve our first challenge with this flat roof. And also after the coping, we now, did our coating. We coated it with the cladding. We coated it with the aluminum cladding all the way. So at the end of the day, there's no magic, that can actually bring in water into those walls. So that was also part of our own way of protecting, these walls.
So the next point of call is our floor drains. How many floor drains do you have that is enough to sustain the water that will be dropping on the flat roof? Most people don't put enough floor drains, and most times they don't properly slope it the way it should slope. So on this project, we actually have 3 floor drains. And these 3 floor drains, we are strategically positioned so that when we slope them, any rain that touches the ground slopes, into the floor drain.
On the roof drain, we actually adopted the Fubura roof drain, which is a type of rainwater outlet designed for flat roofs, balconies and the likes. It is very effective for handling bulk rainwater, So that protective shade there helps to prevent debris from entering or clogging the drainage system.
And also the size of your floor drains too is also a major consideration. So we decided to use 4 inches and 3 inches floor drain. So with that, we can be able to sustain the volume of water that will be coming on the flat roofing.
So on the roofing slab, any standing water on the roof slab for more than 48 hours can degrade the roof materials and lead to serious leaks. So we made sure we had an even slope, that directs the water straight to the floor drains.
And now, most people too, they don't slope the floor. They just leave it the way it is. So when the rain comes in, there is no way the water can slope, because one thing with water is water wants a place to hide. Water wants to live. So when you prepare your floor and it is not properly sloped, the water cannot move. So if it's not moving, you will see the drain, getting to the rooms and every other places. So the first point of call for us is to slope the floor first. So by sloping the floor, we have our chemicals that will mix with the cement to make sure the waterproofing solutions that we have on that mixture becomes very possible and very effective. So we apply that and slope this roofing system to slope the slab towards the floor drains. So by so doing, any rain that touches the ground flows into the floor drain.
So on the felt, we adopted the roofing felt as our primary waterproofing membrane over our gently sloped slab. It has many advantages, I must tell you. It prevents water from entering into the slab. It protects the bare concrete slab from any weather conditions, So now, before application, we made sure we primed all our floors. We made sure we primed all the floors. The essence of that priming is to ensure bonding, sufficient bonding. And also, during this priming with bitumen, we make sure we allow it to stay for some couple of hours so they can dry. That is where supervision comes in, because these workers, most times when they are not supervised, they intend to just rush this work. Once they prime, they just start applying. At the end of the day, you won't get the best results. So we made sure that we allowed it to dry then before we did our main application. And also, we have also an application method. We call it a touch on felt. The essence of this application, it melts the bitumen on the underside of the felt rolls, bonding them securely to the prime surface. And also, when you are doing this thing too, sufficient overlapping is a must. Sufficient overlapping is a must. As you can see, what we are doing, we made sure we overlapped them so that there is no way, water can get into the slab. So all those things are precautionary measures that we take, to make sure we get the best results for our slab.
And another thing about that is there are different levels, there are different gradients, there are different thicknesses of this membrane. So if you go for the lower one, after 1 or 2, 3 years, it will expire. So go for the one that has a bigger gradient. So by the time you get that, it will be easy for you to flow through. So it can last for you for a couple of years. So by doing that, any rain that touches the ground will not penetrate into the floor. So by coating your floor with the felt materials, you know that you've achieved excellence with that. And when you're coating it, you have to make sure that the floor is already sloped to the floor drain, so that any rain that touches the ground flows up immediately.
And also on our walls, we coated our internal walls with a 0.55 gauge. We call it aluminum cladding. It helps to protect the internal walls from water, offering excellent corrosion resistance. It is lightweight and energy sufficient, and it also offers very low maintenance.
So we'll be coming again to show you guys the other parts of the roofing system, which is the lean-to-roof, how we coat the exposed walls. So by coating those exposed walls, we'll now be able to now know how we can do that and navigate that other one. So by doing that, we know we'll have achieved excellence in both the coating system and also on the floor. So thank you so much for joining us. On the last episode, which is the lean-to-roof, we will teach you guys how we achieve that too, and how we coat our walls, and the type of roofing system that we use too, the type of roofing sheets that we adopt too on the lean-to-roof. So from there, you'll be able to now know that we have achieved excellence on this. Thank you so much. If you guys are not following us, please you go back to our pages and follow us and like our pages. Comment any questions that you have, you can drop it. If you're not doing it right, you let us know so that we can also learn together. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Victor Azubinge. God bless you.
Project limited, building right all day long.